you are.
Wow, I'm a little embarrassed.
Because of the news.
No, not that. Um, my mic itself has a physical mute button. I forgot to unmute that when I unmuted the OBS feed. So I was talking for like 10 minutes or so about you being here, and I didn't even realize that I wasn't actually speaking to the audience. So, my bad.
The Dust Minutes enjoys it.
I hope they did. I mean, they got the. Okay, that's what was going on there. At least with you not hearing me. Okay, well, we are here, guys. This is the official start to the Anime4ALL podcast, episode 3 of season 3, but this is episode 6 of episode 5 of season 6 of My Hero Academia. Um, Everything is led up to this moment, literally.
It was a good filler episode.
It is a minute. Uh,
No,
everything,
it was
every
good for a episode. It was really entertaining. There was a lot of action, but
How
it
does this
was only,
filler? This was important.
it was
There's
only like 10 seconds of Froppy.
I knew this was where it's going. He's back in rare form. Okay, we're back. Everything everything is kind of led up to this moment with Shigaraki. I guess we can start from. Well, I guess this entire episode is really just one huge moment in and of itself. What?
No, it's not. There's two moments. You don't think so?
I believe everything kind of was like a huge moment. Really, I mean, there's separate pieces. Like there's this cake and there's like there's separate slices involving separate characters and stuff like that. But like, I feel like this entire thing was like one huge moment. Because I'm thinking about like the situation with Shigaraki and Midoriya both hearing the brothers of All for One and One for All.
Yeah, but the Dark Shadow part, I feel like, was a separate story kind of going on with a bigger one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I mean, I kind of consider all that as like everything was happening at once. Is like everything was happening so fast. Because realistically speaking, even though this is like a 30-minute video episode, everything was happening in real time for them, and it was probably all seconds that everything was happening. But I guess actually
I
before
guess.
we even dive into my Deku Shigaraki, everything's happening down there with Gran Torino. I guess we can real quick, considering that like we only spent a little bit of time with Tsukiyomi and Hawks there, with Tsukiyomi saving Hawks. Really interesting point. I guess before I let you have the reins here, because I think you got like I guess a list of things you want to touch on. But
No, no, I want to go with you with this.
okay.
I have stuff to talk about, but I don't have like, an organized list right now.
I thought it was interesting that we go back to the whole situation where Hawk says that fire is a bad match for him. I didn't expect to find out that apparently Dobby burnt his back so badly. I'm guessing that Hawks won't be able to regenerate for a while.
His wings are gone, so it's in the air whether or not he regenerates at all.
I think he will be able to regenerate. I don't think I don't think Hawks has probably ever lost so many feathers though at once to find out. I'm pretty
It's not
sure I'm pretty sure he'll get his powers. I'm pretty sure he get his wings back.
it's
So
not that rare to have
hmm.
heroes disabled though. Like we've had All Might just kind of like forced into retirement.
But his
Whatever.
situation is a little bit different though than like somebody like Hawks. Hawks didn't give up his ability. He's just now like I'm not saying that he's gonna come back immediately, but we're probably gonna have a situation like a best genius. Like he's just gone for a while.
See, you cut me in like a third of my way into the sentence.
Sorry.
I was going to say Hawks. All Might has been forced into retirement. Best Genius is either dead or forced into retirement. We know he's not a functional hero because he would have been in this raid, and he would have been doing a good job. So he's not here somehow. But it's not out of the question to see a character forced into retirement right now. So it could be that Hawks is forced into retirement because Best Genius is one of the top heroes. All Might was the top hero. We know that there's major consequences happening in this episode anyway. If his wings get burnt, he's not useless as a hero, but he's certainly not a superhero anymore. So it's possible that he doesn't have them healed. Like Midoriya's had permanent damage. We see that Endeavor's got a scar. Like people, people get scars and permanent damage in this show. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't say that Hawks is definitely okay or anything.
I mean, I understand. I feel like I feel like he will have it. He'll be gone. Like Mirko, I suspect, because she's got a lot of damage done to her body. I suspect he'll be gone for a while, but I feel like he's gonna come back. I mean, he's never said that like his wing. There's a point where his wings will never be able to regenerate. I mean, like before he said his wings. Now, granted, those other times he still had like real red little tufts on his back, but I don't think his wings are unable to grow back, because I mean quirks don't manifest on you until you're 5.
The feathers will grow back for sure if that was all that was gone. But like, is the bone structure really like it?
I don't think there's any bones, because like I mean like those feathers, there's no way bones could be in there if you're being honest, because like I mean we've seen his wings without the feathers on it.
Haven't we at least seen like nubs there before?
No, those are just like the little red I mean, unless those like red tufts are bones, but I don't think they are. I mean, again, I mean, who I guess who really knows? I don't suspect he's out, because like I mean, granted, we won't know any real damage until this is all done, what's really happened to everybody, but I don't think he's out. I feel like he'll be out for a long time. Is basically my predict. He'll probably be out for like months to a year or two. He'll probably be somewhere else, because like he's already fulfilled his obligation to this whole cause at this point. He's led everybody to this exact moment. I suspect he'll just be the government or whoever is taking care of him, put him to the side and let him heal.
So here's the thing, like, once this is done, is there going to be anything left to heal? Like, is there going to be anything left to take care of him and let him heal? Is this beginning an era where like the heroes lose and the remaining ones are kind of like a rebel group now instead of like leading the way?
What do you mean? I
What I mean,
I don't think I understand what you mean.
How many in the big attack that took 5 minutes of straight 5.5 minutes of the episode? How many pro heroes? We saw several pro heroes die in that, but if we think about it, there's a lot of pro heroes that just don't make sense to have been able to run away. Like, how did Cementos get away? We know he was on the front lines attacking the hospital. We know the hospital went under. We know that creating a wall, like a wall of ice, for example, is not enough to stop that, because we've seen it tear through 2 walls of ice. We've also seen it tear through cement. So Cementos wouldn't have been able to use his cement to stop it. So how did he get away?
It's possible that he layered a lot. I mean, granted, the decay literally was shown destroying everything in seconds.
He destroyed everything in a radius. Cementos doesn't seem like one of the ones that would have been fast enough.
The thing is that there's a lot of heroes and pro heroes like in the background somewhere, like very far off in the distance. It is possible that maybe Cementos was told to. He did what he needed to do, which was destroy the building, because we didn't see him involved in any of that skirmish. We just saw him wreck the building, and that was it. It's possible that Cementos did what he was supposed to do and then leave. Again, we won't know. We won't really know anything until the end of this raid.
But he was a hypothetical, but they had most of the pro heroes in the range of the disintegration, or the decay, or whatever they call it. So we know that a good portion of them didn't have a way to get out, and that the ones that did have a way to get out couldn't always bring everybody out. So we saw like the shield guy, for example, went down. He was the one that gave the thumbs up as he was dying. So we know that a really good portion of the heroes got wiped out. So did that cripple the heroes like pretty completely? Like what's left of the heroes after that? We know most of the students got away, if not all of them, because they were sent as far to the back lines as possible. They'd been mostly done evacuating the city by the time everything like went down anyway. But I would say that if none of the students died, I'm okay with that from a plot perspective because they had forced everybody to the back, and we know that Dark Shadow got away. But the pro heroes in the front lines, I think a major portion of those are gone.
Well, I mean, I don't know, cause like there was two groups, and I don't think the hospital was even anywhere near the radius, cause they would have shown the building, cause like the center of that disintegration was the hospital, for whatever reason. From what I remember, for whatever reason, the center of that explosion was the hospital.
Okay, so like hypothetically, how would Mount Lady get away? It's not like someone can pick her up and carry her off.
She was already like walking the other direction, I believe, before even Shigaraki did what he did.
She was literally sitting on her butt and had almost knocked out Fat Gum.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure, didn't she get up? Because like I mean that also, I mean, she landed like, well, she didn't land on him, but she almost landed on Fat Gum, but Fat Gum ran away.
Yeah, I could see Fat Gum getting away. I could even see Mount Lady being fast enough just because she's got giant legs.
But
But I,
they would have shown her getting decayed. They weren't afraid to show a lot of heroes getting decayed. And honestly, if I'm being honest, a lot of the heroes that got decayed anyway were not important. X
we saw Decade were
X List wasn't really all that important. He got
the,
killed.
the only ones we saw Decade were a couple in the background in the city as the students ran away, and a few of them got decayed in the Endeavor like retreat scene from the Nomu attack.
Again, but
But
those
we
weren't really important heroes. Like the ones that I guess that we have actual names that we've been with for a while got away. I
but we
mean,
don't, Jeremy. We don't know anything really about how many heroes were lost, for sure. And it doesn't make sense for all the heroes to have gotten away.
I'm not seeing all of them. I know we saw. I know we saw like the heroes. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of like no name or one note heroes that were in there that definitely died for sure, because they weren't afraid to show a couple of them. I guess Crustless is kind of not no name, but at the same time, it's like he didn't really, he
Who's
couldn't,
no name?
huh?
Who's
Uh,
kind of no name?
I said I don't think he is, kind of like Crust. I forgot his name. Yeah, I think it's Crust.
Kind with a shield ability.
Yeah, he was showing that. I mean, I guess he's not really no name, but at the same time, he kind of is. He couldn't take out a no move regardless, and he pretty much saved. What was it that he? Oh yeah, he saved Racerhead when that no move was grabbing onto him as that no move was decaying.
Mm-hmm.
So he saved him there before he died. So he did like one good last heroic thing before he died. Hold on. I could figure out, I guess, what that range was, or at least where. The Wiki doesn't even say anything. What was at the center?
I don't think anybody slower than
Oh,
I don't think anybody slower than Froppy without an ability that would get them out of there was going to make it. In fact, I think the rescue hero, that guy that looks like a space, like he's in a spacesuit.
it was Team
We didn't.
Endeavor that was over by the decaying, right? Like Team Edgeshot was nowhere near it.
The guy that is in a spacesuit was at Ground Zero when he wakes up and starts it, and we didn't see him carried out. So the spacesuit guy is like gone.
I think it was Team Endeavor that was at the spot where everything kind of went to hell. I think.
Yeah, but that's one of the people in the background of Team Endeavor.
No, I'm just trying to figure out, like, there's a list of them somewhere. This is the agency. Never mind. Wait. Oh no, that was. Never mind.
Did Deadbolt make it out?
He could have. I know the giant lady dragon flew everybody out.
Flew a few people out, but then we had the water. We had the water like rescue hero, the one with the fire hydrants. We had Deadbolt. Deadbolt's not a no name.
Endeavor. Okay. There's a few like no names on the dragon lady. The water guy. He's with her. I don't know who the heck is. Wait, is that? Oh, that must be Endeavor flying behind her. Deadbolt's on her. Deadpool's on her back.
I don't see Deadbolt in the pile.
Deadpool's on her back. It's at
Sure.
16, 18. I see him, like his face. It's very weird. He's right there. You can see him.
Yeah, it's weird because like a second before that, I saw the same shot and he was the one in the shot. That's weird. Another spot, I saw the guy flying out, and I didn't see. Let's just be honest, I didn't see a white guy there. I saw a white guy there, not Deadbolt.
Oh, it looks like Gran Torino was actually on her back too, along with Mike, and then the it looks like it because I don't think Gran Torino can fly that fast, even with his face looking like that.
Froppy could outrun. You see Froppy outrunning the decay later on, so it's possible Torino could do it. Even if it slowed down as it spread out, I think it's possible. In fact, it looks like
a lot of people. It looks like Pussycat got away. What?
Not only did Torino get himself away, but he brought the scientist with him.
I don't know. I don't know if that decays as fast as it's being portrayed, but I mean, it looks really fast regardless.
Why did you think? Oh, there's the shield hero move. Yeah, you're right.
What? Wait, what to ask?
I missed the part where I saw Shield give the Crest give the thumbs up, but I didn't see the part where he saved Eraserhead. So that was interesting.
That I mean, it was like one of the bigger thing. I mean, like Eraserhead was. I forgot who saved him beforehand when he was getting away. Somebody grabbed him, but because of the Nomu guy, like he was definitely going to get decayed the moment that the decay reached him.
Eraserhead's a good example though. Like he didn't have the kind of quirk that would have gotten him out there, so he didn't make it.
Well, I mean, he's important though, so I'm pretty sure I know that's why they took priority over him, because if they lose him, they don't have a chance.
Yeah, but the story is also telling you that Eraserhead wouldn't have made it without help. So when we're gauging who else made it out.
Wait, what team is Deco on again?
I don't know.
Oh, I forgot. I guess it's Endeavor, because Endeavor was over at the... Okay.
When you see the decay scene, too, you hardly see tons of heroes, like, flying out of the city or anything. Whenever they do a pan of the city, you don't see anybody flying out of it. Like in 1723, for example. Whenever they do the Google Earth view, you're not seeing anybody coming out of it.
I mean, it's also possible that maybe Shigaraki doesn't have full control over how much he's decaying or what he's not decaying. It's possible that maybe there's somehow there's some pockets in there that are safe. Who the heck knows?
I don't think so.
I'm not gonna dismiss it. I mean, he's still the non-decaying he's doing is still new to him.
Okay.
What?
The only thing that I would say about that specifically is that it's interesting that he didn't decay Gigantomachina, who was right underneath him.
I think the thing is, it doesn't look like, I think they were, this is my theory about that, because a large group of people of the rebellion is like underneath the ground, and they don't really tell you how far deep underground they are. I'm pretty sure, and also Shigaraki did say, I guess we can talk about that now a little bit. Shigaraki, when he does come out after he decays everything, and I guess he's still decaying because there's a force field of decay just going all around him. He does say that, you know, when he got out, he was supposed to start immediately attacking. I'm pretty sure that might have just been him saying that he needs to wake up Gigantomachia. But I'm pretty sure that there's probably a radius that Shigaraki was probably told beforehand that he could like destroy, or maybe they're underneath so far that his decay just can't reach. Because I don't really know. It seems
so
like
it does make it don't go so far out on the earth too.
What?
It only went so high in the sky, so it would make sense if it only went so far down on the earth too.
Well, my theory is that maybe it's possible that maybe they're just underneath so far that like once he did eradicate everything, it's just that okay, they're safe. They don't have to worry about getting killed. Or
Gigantomachina is just so durable that he doesn't get hurt. But Gigantomachina also has that stupid recorder, and there seems to be concrete in the background and everything, so it's
I
It's
don't
hard
think
to
he's
do.
immune to decay. I could be wrong though.
He never decayed in the past. He fought him for like a month. But what I was saying is there's also concrete pillars in the background. Those aren't immune. So he's underground, so he would have been buried or whatever. So it's pretty reasonable to think that he's okay. Um, and it wasn't that he was targeted. But if that's the case, then it could be the whole chamber that he was in was safe too. We don't see it. But if the whole chamber's safe, then there's some big players still down in there that are going to be okay as well. And we know the scientists made it.
I mean, the scientist was being hauled out with Mike and Gran Torino.
Right, they saved him instead of somebody else.
Hmm?
They saved him instead of someone that deserved it, like Crust. But it's because they're heroes.
I guess that's true. I guess also before we move on to full on talk about the stakes that are now being set with Shigaraki now being awake. Back to Tsukiyomi and Dabi. It's interesting that like now we're starting to see more of Dabi. We're starting to see him talk more, and we're starting to see more characteristics specifically about him in Hawks. Even though Hawks is like down for the count, he is still analyzing. He's still analyzing Dabi just down to the smallest detail, and he's mentioning that like Dabi is talking a lot. He's more concentrated on talking to him versus trying to kill him, which is I thought was intriguing. What?
He's still teaching and being a mentor as well, which is interesting.
Even though he didn't want to be one. Kind of funny. I guess he's glad he trained Tsukiyomi. But
He did. Right? Even right there, he's like, think about it, dude. Like this guy's talking a lot. Why is he doing that? Why is he just going for what he wants?
yeah, that was interesting that that was happening. He was talking a lot, and he was even telling Tsukiyomi, "Look what he did to my buddy over here." He was just trying to save his friend, and he stabbed him in the back, which he wasn't wrong. But House wasn't trying to kill him at first. He was trying to like restrain him, and it didn't work.
This is so interesting. Look at 2328 or so. The fight outside is still somehow going on, and you actually see Cementos being thrown backwards. There's grass and everything. So like that area, for some reason, wasn't in the range of everything happening. I don't understand that at all. I'm wrong. Was that a completely different location, not the hospital? Am I just really wrong?
Yeah, there's two locations. That's the reason why there was two teams. Endeavor was supposed to go take the hospital, but Team Headshot was supposed to go to the actually that is where Gigantomachia is. He's over there where Headshot is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that maybe like they chose a location pretty far out, and because they knew that they knew when Shigaraki woke up he was going to destroy everything. So it's possible that like they chose such a far location that everybody is over there right now, which is why I was thinking I don't think there's half the heroes that we saw didn't go all the way to like the hospital. In fact, I think only the heroes that were even the students, all the heroes that were able to be mobile, they were capable of agility and getting out really quick, were sent over to do with Endeavor because they knew how to search and rescue. But like the heroes that were more utilitarian and had specific purposes, like Charge Bolt, for instance, were sent over with Edgeshot to perform their duties. Like and Tsukiyomi was one of them. He was over there and he rescued Tsukiyomi rescued Hawk from Dabi over there, because Dabi was over there. That building is fine, and that's where Cementos destroyed everything. That's what I was trying to figure out, because I was like, I understand that they were heroes that died, but the large group that we saw at the very beginning of this season was split. They were half and half. So yes, the heroes over with Endeavor, yes, they're all boned, because a lot of those heroes that we saw were just like no names or people who we didn't care much about. A few of them that we didn't know much about, like Miracle, for instance, kind of broke out, and they're kind of still around because Endeavor saved her. So it was like, a couple of the heroes that, didn't know much about or still are kicking, I guess, I suppose. Kind of. I know a lot of the heroes, I saw like a lot of the destruction, a lot of heroes were just like decimated. I don't think I saw
Yeah.
a villain. I don't think I even saw. I don't think I saw a no-name villain get decimated. But I know a lot of the heroes, like, because of how fast. That's why I'm kind of confused about the decay, the speed. I feel like there's some situations where it was like really fast, but then other situations where it was slow. So I'm guessing maybe it was faster at the center, but then as it got wider, I guess it was physics, it just started slowing itself.
Yeah.
So it's possible that maybe there is definitely a limit to how much he can decay, even with his limitless decay. But well, I guess limitless quote unquote decay radius. It will eventually stop, and I suspect it's gonna stop way before it gets to their hideout. Because it is really weird that Shigaraki was being in a think tank several miles away from their headquarters were. But even with that, it's weird that that his crew's underneath the ground, so it kind of really weird, makes you think, why are they underground to begin with? But they did Shigaraki like show up there and they were shocked. No, that was Gagashamakia moving. That's what shocked them. Never mind.
I thought this is what I understood incorrectly. I thought the teams were broken up like this. I thought one team was sent into the city to evacuate it, which was mostly students. I thought one group was set to hang back and stop reinforcements. I mean, stop stragglers, which was mostly students. I thought there was one team set to seal off all other exits from the hospital, like the underground ones that they knew of. And I thought then there was the final team that was like the attack force, and that some of them had broken through into the underground tunnels with Bunny Girl at the lead. So what I was wrong about is it sounds like there was one site where they were sealing off the exits and doing the invasion force inside, where the scientist's real headquarters was, and the other was in the hospital where the scientist clone was, and there was a big force attacking there because there was tons of like
You're not
medium and
you're, you're
things,
not
right?
wrong. Sorry. You're not wrong about the them separating the students off, because I mean, even though there was a big group and they were separated off into two sections, the students for each section were definitely quarantined in their own little student group. And yes, Deku and everybody from his class was there to evacuate people. It just seems kind of it just that's why Deku and everybody was actually close enough to the radius of the decay to see what was happening. I didn't know the Pussycat team was there until like this episode. Apparently, I guess they were shown to be there at some point. I just didn't realize they were there, but they were
Evacuate.
there as far as they survived. Same thing with the students over with Edgeshot. The students were given a specific role to not get involved in the real fight. We know that's not
One
going to work. But
Seacat team was another one that was forced into retirement, right?
no, they're still around and active.
Was
I
that
the
one
only person that probably isn't active right now is the girl with the green hair, because she lost her
the one,
quirk.
the one whose quirk was stolen? Yeah.
But the crew is still active from what I can tell. That girl I think is a secretary now, from what I understand.
Well, kind of forced into retirement. Then you can retire and still do some like office work.
I mean, they weren't first in retirement, but she kind of was, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Um,
So I meant I said one of the Pussycat team
all of that,
was
all of them was like, wait, what?
no, not all of them. That's obvious.
Okay,
I forget what her ability was. She had a highly unique ability, right?
we could read minds, I think is what it was.
Or no, telepathy. She could speak to people with her mind.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They said about Tsukiyomi and everything. I mean, Tsukiyomi got in and did what he was intending to do, which save his sensei. Right now, though, Hawks is kind of like on like a death's door, probably, or not death's door, more like we don't know if his quirk's gonna grow back. Again, I
Yeah.
still believe that his quirk can grow back.
You hear what I said?
What?
He had a bad day. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was a bad day, all right. Uh, Everything kind of went to hell in a handbasket after twice turned on him. Though it's more like him turning on twice, which led to twice turning on him, but still.
It was him turning on twice and then twice desperately trying to save his friends.
Again, yeah, I mean, Hawks turning on twice, twice turning on him, only to. That was such a sad moment. I feel bad for that guy. Nothing
So
went
nice.
right. Nothing went right
Wait,
with him.
it was so nice he had to betray him twice.
Ow, that hurt me. Okay, on to the next topic at hand, which is the rest of the episode. I'm gonna start out with this. Um, it's interesting that before we
You're going to start off by coughing loudly?
apparently yes. Um,
That's an interesting move. I don't not support it.
it's interesting that before we go back to Shigaraki waking up, which actually I feel like it's interesting they actually revealed why Shigaraki woke up or revived himself was because of electricity on the water. I was like, okay, so that's what he was shocked into rhythm again. Essentially, he was kind of given in a CPR, well not CPR, but I got those pads that they use in the hospital, but essentially that's what was given. He was given a jolt of electricity that started his heart. It's also interesting that they decided to show us that, so it wasn't like he just suddenly woke back up.
Right.
But then before we deal with what's going on there, I find it interesting that we go back to Deku, and as like apparently Shigaraki's already done a huge explosion of decay, and before it happens, Deku has this strange feeling that then is preceded with the original One for All user, the brother of All for One, telling him in vague detail that like he's awoken, this is dangerous, you got to stop him, the world is doomed. It's like such an interesting thing that Deku said he's never talked to me before in a while, ever since that last time he took over. And like you see Deku getting this dread feeling, and like, as he's turning around, he's he's starting to sweat, and he's just looking in the direction of the hospital. It's such an interesting I guess idea that they decided to have One for All talk to him, because they do the exact same thing with Shigaraki, but instead of One for All, it's All for One talking to him. I thought that was interesting. It's like, okay, so now both of them have the original progenitors talking in their brains, but the only difference is that Deku's progenitors are dead, but Shigaraki's progenitor is still alive. Again, with the really weird parallels. Speaking of parallels, I find it interesting that they have Shigaraki wearing a red cape.
Like a little,
like it's almost like a
little almighty.
Yeah, kind of. It was kind of weird. I was like, oh wow, this is symbolism. As he's standing above all the destruction he's caused, the first act he ever does is just decimate everybody, and it's just like, oh dear, he's strong. I don't know what the doctor did to him, but he did something to him. I thought it was kind of interesting about how all that worked. I don't know what you ultimately thought about, I guess, everything that was happening as Shigaraki was waking up.
He had a Zenkai boost.
Well, I mean, it wasn't. I mean, kind of was, but at the same time, it kind of wasn't, because it wasn't on the verge of death.
He wasn't on the verge of death.
No, he wasn't.
He
just woke up from a nap, a bad nap.
He gets to Machina for a month straight.
Yeah, but I feel it was the scientist that was doing a lot of the quirk boosting, but I understand what you're talking about.
In labor for 36 hours and she still talks about it. I can only imagine what a month is like.
Wait, what?
My wife was in labor for 36 hours straight when she was pregnant, and like she still talks about it. So I can only imagine what like this is like for him. It's like, oh, I was in labor for 36 hours. I'm like, yeah, all right, get over it.
I am so shocked right now. I don't know what to say. I am legitimately stunned.
I'm just saying, if she can talk about labor for 36 hours, I feel like he was probably down for the count a little bit, fighting that guy for a month straight. It's got to be comparable on some level.
I guess. I don't.
Why didn't you just block me on Discord?
I don't really feel comfortable talking about this. But it was like the destruction that like Essentially, I think a hero even mentions or somebody says that we've lost or something like that. Like we just been utterly, totally defeated. I was like, yeah, that's he just it's like his presence was kind of like on par with All Might. If you want to make a comparison, actually, you said with the the cape looking like All Might, kind of like.
I believe Gran Torino said was the one that said they lost, and that because he was carrying the doctor, and then the doctor's like, ha 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 ha, I wanted you.
It was just a big deal that Shigaraki wasn't ready to come out of like the vow though, but based on like, and maybe he still isn't complete, but like, even an incomplete Shigaraki is still kind of scary.
I think what they're pointing out is that this didn't go as according to plan, even though it went this well. It didn't go the way they planned it.
Yes, I'm
That's
just
what I
looking
took
at
away.
looking at the moment that Deku's having with the moment in his head with one for all for one, no one for all. I need to stop
Deco's
mixing that
like,
up.
this moment. Sorry.
You're not sorry. I want to bring up too, like that I guess Exless, which is I guess like their hero that he killed, Shigaraki killed. I felt bad for that guy. He also, I guess, something I didn't pick up on was the fact that like Exless destroyed those like ammunition bullets with the bullet with the vaccine in it that destroys quirks or you know temporarily removes them from their body. I didn't realize that was the thing that he destroyed.
I didn't either, and then I was a little confused because he destroyed when he looks over and like takes one up. He's like, "Oh, I had to make a few of these. This is inconvenient." And then he's like, "That made Compressor Man's ability go away for a little while." And I was like, "Okay, so that sounds like it's not that big of a deal." I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not like the tragic life-ending deal that it could have been. He's like, "Oh yeah, it makes their abilities go away for a little while." Well, it looks like most of these aren't good anymore. It's like, okay.
Also, it looks like I think that maybe Shigaraki, like he's missing his index finger, his pointer finger, and his middle finger. I'm guessing those were where he was supposed to put those needles into, and I guess he was supposed to stab people with them.
At one point, I thought the significance of focusing on his fingers is that he, at one point, he needed to touch someone with all 5 fingers to make them decay. So one of his hands is missing some fingers.
Well, that doesn't need to. That's not the case anymore. He can like, I mean, that whole like needing to press 5 fingers was just a mental block on his own powers. I think that was already
Yeah,
availed too. That was his own doing.
yeah, I thought that was part of the deal, though. That like that's why they kept focusing on it, even if they were just pointing out how transcendent he is now. I thought that's why they kept doing it, just to show like his war wounds and what he's been through and everything else, because they are pretty responsible about making him an anti-hero.
I guess speaking of like, I guess transcendency and stuff like that, do you think it's kind of weird that from the very beginning of this series, like Shigaraki's hair wasn't pure white? It was like gray, kind of, wasn't it? And as he's been
So
going through these like moments in his life, his hair has kind of been changing color to the point where it's at right now, where it's just pure white, like he's just pure evil now. Was even in like the last episode where there, when Shigaraki was knocked out of the vow and we saw him in his own world and him walking away from his parents and then begging him to, I forgot to bring this up when we were talking about last time, but it's like it's kind of interesting that like,
more than anything at one point.
hmm?
It was like bluish at one point.
It
Like you're
was.
at
I mean, well, I mean, as a kid, it was like black or something like that. But then, as he, because of all the things he's gone through, it turned gray, and then now it's just like, it's literally just white now.
time signature 2030. You can see a really good shot that his hair is clearly light blue.
I'm seeing white, like pure white, like the color, like the colorless.
Here, I'll try to get you. I'll get you a screenshot. Oh, I can't because of Crunchyroll. Just you're gonna have to take my word for it. Then at 2030 on that's my Crunchyroll timestamp is 20 minutes and 30 seconds. They're doing a flashback, and he
I mean,
definitely
no,
has.
that was before though. I I mean, like I said, what I was pointing out was that his hair has been changing color throughout the course
That's what
of
I was supporting what you were saying, Jeremy. I was saying yes, and also I noticed that in this very episode they show a flashback where his hair is almost blue. Is what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you.
Okay, no, I think I don't know. I feel like when you're talking into your mic, it's cutting off every other word. I'm trying to piece together some of them to, piece together. I'm just getting quite. I think I'm getting half your messages sometimes.
It might be your internet because I'm using the same setup with no background noise that I usually use. If I had an air conditioner on or something like that, I would believe it, but I don't. I'm not
No, I feel like
downloading
there's
any.
like some. I mean, most mics, and this is something I do know, that most mics have some type of like setting where it's like, if you're like talking loud enough, or it thinks you're talking really loud, it will like either shut itself up for a few seconds. I'm not sure what kind of mic you have. And I'm not saying it's totally you, but my internet seems to be
Hang
holding.
on.
My
Are you
internet's
saying
good. My internet's really good right now, so I don't know what's really happening there.
Are you saying maybe I'm talking too loud?
I mean, you sound perfectly fine to me. You don't sound loud at all. I don't know what's going on with your mic in particular. Maybe it's Discord too. I mean, Discord has settings for like if you get this loud, it does something to your mic. I had to either turn that off or something.
I don't
But
know because
well, hmm?
it's the same microphone I use for my client calls and stuff.
I don't know. My internet seems to be fine. I'm not like losing. I'm not losing any frames. I'm not dropping anything. It's been pure green this entire time.
Sure.
But
I will
yeah,
do my
I thought you
best.
meant his hair was blue right this like, exact moment. I was like, no, it's not. It's pure white. It was like, oh, that's right. His hair was blue at one point. I completely forgot about that.
No, I was just pointing out that at 20 minutes and 30 seconds, they do a flashback where his hair is blue.
Did his hair get longer too? Or is that just my imagination?
I don't know. I'm looking to see. No, if anything, it got shorter.
I also find it interesting that like Shigaraki's talking about how cold it is, but I guess it's because of the wind and everything like that, and he's shirtless. Wait, no, he's not shirtless. He's got like a bodysuit on. Does he have a
Yeah, I
bodysuit?
really like you said it was cold. Weird thing that he's stuck on at that point.
Yeah, but I guess like, after he destroys everything around him, almost in this really big crater of nothingness, he ends up like telling Jigatemaki it's time. It's also funny too, like even though Jigatemaki was underneath the ground, he could still smell Shigaraki. Do you think that was also weird too?
That is weird because he's far enough away that like he was outside of the range of the city.
Or do you think he's just so down, like Shigaraki's just so downwind that the smell was just coming straight to him in the
Or he could smell, or he's by saying he could smell Shigaraki, he was talking about the decay.
That is also true, but then again, that's downwind.
Because I mean that's a pretty big plume. Maybe the stench of his decay is what he smells.
Maybe. I guess he would know what it smells like though, because he's fought Shigaraki over and over again.
Yeah,
So I guess that makes
he's
sense.
he's kind of a fangirl,
Okay.
Shigaraki. You
Someone's
think
gotta be a
he's not?
fan of Shigaraki, because like, I mean, One for All is in jail. Smiling.
Mhm.
With this big old grin on his face with no eyes. Uh, um, hmm?
I didn't say anything.
It's interesting. Like I guess, like as the episode ends and cuts out, I was like, after that, it's kind of crazy. Like everything that's happened ever since Shigaraki woke up. Like the tides turned. A lot of heroes died.
In one shot too. Not just like the tides turned and a lot of heroes died, but like he just sort of like stuck his hand down and then everybody fell. It's by far the most momentous thing we've ever seen in My Hero Academia, and we've seen some big stuff.
It was just ridiculous how much he managed to dismantle.
He,
Like again, this is one of the things I was so afraid of, is that I feel like Shigaraki's getting there to the point where my biggest fear with him is like, he was a little kid, and he did a good job with displaying this too. He was a little kid with toys that he didn't know how to control. He's growing up mentally now. He's getting control over everything that he was given. And it's scary considering that he had the aptitude beforehand. He just didn't have the mental stability. Now he has the mental stability, and I'm terrified.
yeah. He touched the ground and for 5.5 minutes, because he touched the ground, he doesn't even look fatigued afterwards. He just reached down, touched the ground, and for 5 minutes, everything died.
He does say that because, of course, the doctor, like, before he even grabs the device after he hears Alpha One, he does say the doctor made it so he could use decay. It's nice to be able to use decay however I want. Now, either that means the doctor had something to. I'll get that in a minute. It means that either the doctor might have augmented his abilities somewhat so he could do that, or two is that Shirok realized how to decay just straight up however he wants now. Because before his like decay, he'd need to touch something and it just be around the center of his hand, and if it just depends on how long he's touching that object. Later on, he's touching something, and as long as the thing is touching whatever he's decaying, and just keeps on going. Here, it was like a big giant plume, like of like destruction, just mayhem, like in a center, almost like it's just a controlled burst. Like it literally, you could honestly, I guess, confirm, not confirm, but you can almost like compare it to a key blast or a spirit bomb or something on that level. Like it's almost like they even called Shigaraki plus Ultra kind of, but I don't know what he probably said something else, plus negative or something like that. But like his as you said before, like he's taking leaps and bounds in power, and it's taken now to even really see it. It's legitimately scary. Like I don't know how you stop somebody who's able to decay 5 feet away from you. Like he can literally get to you no matter where you are. If you're on the ground, you have to literally be able to fly, I guess, to be able to avoid being decayed by him. And then at that point, he'll probably just jump at you and try to touch you.
Well, I guess we're about to find out if his weakness is fire.
Yeah, that's not gonna help. I think
we know his weakness is ice.
I think he's gonna decay the fire. Actually, I guess before as we start wrapping up here, I want to bring up the Nomus with Endeavor. I always thought about this too. Like, Endeavor's been the only hero that's been able to tackle Nomus and disintegrate them. Yeah, it takes him a while, but he's been able to kill them. It's kind of interesting that one Nomu that I guess is the woman, her quirk is water, from what I could tell, and it is the only thing that's like, okay, that makes sense. I guess they would need a Nomu to counteract the fire weakness that they have. Because
she didn't have. We saw her expand her body size at one point. She has more quirks than just one. I mean, that's the whole thing about Nomus. They have multiple quirks.
One of them was water. I mean, as I said, I was saying, like, it's something they were trying to counteract the weakness of being burnt as being one of them. Is like, Endeavor can just burn them and get rid of them. Being the only hero that can do that. I guess maybe his sidekick too, the girl with the flaming hair. I don't know if she can though.
Looked like they were a little more resilient this time around, though. Like, you can just burn them and get rid of them. And not all of them seem to have that incredible regenerative ability, because one of them got, like, a headshot and went down and didn't seem to get back up from that headshot. And I was like, wait a minute, what's that? There's a scene in the fight where they're, like, you just see its brain splatter on the ground, and it looks like it was down for good. I don't know how much of that had to do with the fact that Endeavor, that Eraserhead was, like, watching them, maybe neutralizing their ability, because we know that he was looking at them the whole time. So they were fighting in that scene where they were so powerful, they were fighting without their quirks.
Well, I mean, most of them was just have muscle fibers. I believe that, at least the doctor's been augmenting them anyway. So, I mean, their physical ability would just, I guess, still be enough to take down a hero, even without their ability backing them up.
You mean they come with their own personal gun show? Is that what you're trying to say?
I guess now that somebody is actually in the chat here and he's been asking this question to me as if I knew this answer, I guess I'm going to ask you directly. This is coming from XLG. He's not saying this right now, but he's asked this to me before on several occasions. I think he told me this before, and I don't really know. Do you have French in your family? Are you like part French? He's been asking this to me, and I've been unable to give him a straight answer.
The most epic quality episode of My Hero Academia Eve ever, and you're gonna go with, "Are you French?"
That is a question he's asked me directly. Okay, I've been telling him to ask you, but he hasn't done so for reasons unknown to me. He'll ask me all kinds of questions, but he won't ask you anything.
So,
How do we end it off on this? Just a lesson of a senior jock.
my mom had me when she was 18. And so she never married my dad, which is great for me because my dad's name is literally Mike Dick. And I kid you not, I will prove it to you offline if you want. So he never married my mom. And so when she had me, she had my grandfather's last name, which was Bouchard. My grandfather is part French. He's actually part French Canadian. When
you know where in Canada he was from?
No, but I've told you in the past that one of my ancestors is a French pirate, right? That's
Yeah,
probably,
I remember that. I remember him asking me this: "Are you French or do you have French in your family?" I was like, okay, XOG. As you continue your story, you got your confirmation. There is some French in his family.
my French ancestor was a corsair, so he's at least that much French. That's probably my French Canadian ancestor. I just can't tell you for sure. But I am mostly, because of my biological father being full German, I am mostly German, but I'm also Dutch, French, English, Irish, Scottish, and a little tiny bit of Iroquois from my French Canadian roots. So I'm a lot of stuff.
But French isn't you. Okay. I think
The
he
first,
left, but I'll let him know that apparently yes, you do have some French in your family. It's probably not a prominent part of you, but you know you do have some French in you.
yeah, I have some French in me, but mostly my grandmother just liked the name. My grandmother's a little strange. The first thing she yelled when I was born is, "It's a little red-headed girl."
Wait, what?
It's the first thing she said when I was born. So if you wanted like a temperature check on my family, there's your temperature check.
You really only asked him because of your first name being Jock and his name is, well, never mind. You didn't hear
Yeah.
that. I didn't mean to. Oh boy, we need to end this now. Quick, get us out of here, Jock.
Not super private, except for the fact that the people that heard the pregnancy joke earlier are probably coming after me right now. They want me dead. Let's face it. There's at least 6 people that listen to your podcast out of the 9 people that listen to it that want me dead.
Well, you completely caught me off guard. I wasn't prepared to answer that. I didn't have an answer, and I just dropped the ball there. I didn't have anything to say. You
Well,
literally caught me off guard. That was the first thing I think you ever said that literally I had no response to. Congratulations.
it's been my life goal. I have a bingo card with different achievements, and that was on my achievement list to get you to the point I had no answer.
So there's literally a square on your bingo card to stun me.
Yes. Stunlock Jeremy. It's on my card.
Well, I'm glad I was able to help you with that question mark. I'm even more confused.
I'm ambitious. I wanted to stunlock. It was very difficult. I've been working on it. I've been taking. That's actually the reason that my notes document started. I was like, I've got to find things that will stunlock.
I wouldn't put it past you. I guess with that, we're now diving into insanity. We're like an hour or so odd in. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the episode while we're still here, or?
About the episode?
Yeah.
Specifically the episode.
This episode we were reviewing, the My Hero Academia. Yes. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to say? I guess in general about My Hero before we close out here. I guess it's the better question to ask.
No.
Okay. Let's see
Tell
here.
everybody who listens to your podcast to add their site map to robots.txt, and we'll call it even.
Repeat that again. Sorry, you kind of cut out mid sentence there.
Please.
Add
add your sitemap to your robots.txt file, please. That's my only request of your audience.
At your site to their robot.txt?
I want your audience to add their sitemap, their website sitemap, to the robots.txt file. That's my only request for your audience.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
I guess do that, and I guess he'll be happy. I have no idea. This.
You I'm looking on Twitter.
Huh?
I'm looking on Twitter right now at the trending topics while we're talking. When you hear the Twitter trending topic of red wave coming,
I've never seen that. I haven't really been watching the Twitter trends recently.
do you think Republicans winning, or do you think about something else when you hear the term red wave coming?
I just to go with the color red and tidal wave. That's what I'm thinking.
A red time. So you don't think about like periods. You think about tidal waves.
No,
okay.
Never. Why? You know what? I think that's a sign to end this podcast before we get more trouble.
That's right. These people are my name now, and I know my father's name, so I'm in trouble.
Okay, with that, we're going to end it here. We talked about, I guess, as much as we could. What?
Like Kool-Aid Man kind of red wave, or what?
No, I just think of red water. I don't think I've ever connected to anything.
Can I get an oh yeah, like Kool-Aid Man style from you? Would you do that for me? It's like number 3 on my bingo card.
How about no, and we say we did?
What if we don't? What if we do it and say we didn't?
That's not how that works.
Why not? It sounds better to me that way.
Yeah, you just want to hear the Kool-Aid Man on your side of the computer. That's all you want from me.
The kids who watch our podcast want you to make the Kool-Aid Man noise.
There is no record of this anywhere on the internet.
Game Hunter, please, for the children. Could you do it for the children, please, Game Hunter?
I'm tired of doing things for the children. I want to do something for myself once, dang it. That's probably got a target on my back. Okay, we're gonna end it here, folks. Next episode, reviewing is the next episode. I don't think there's a break at all. I don't think there'll be a break for this show until like maybe Thanksgiving. I
don't know. This is probably one of my 2 favorite episodes in the series so far, so I'm really excited to see the next one.
And we'll see. So next episode I believe will be coming out, the 5th, and we'll be back here on Monday, September the 7th, which I guess before we do go here, anybody's watching this before the events of September, not September 7th, November 7th, before the events of November 8th. Okay, I want to say this, but like, if you want to vote, make sure that, it's your opinion and nobody else's that you put on the ballot. And that's all I will say on that on that topic. As I go away, I guess I'll do this one last thing for Jock's bingo.
Being said, if you vote red wave, you're basically just a woman on her period.
As we end here, I'm gonna give Jock what he wanted for his bingo card, apparently. Oh yeah!